Spectre 1 in position. I have you in my sight, Spectre 2.
Copy that, Spectre 1. Spectre 3, what's your status?
Oh yeah, look at the circuit boards on that one. I'd sure like to mesh wires with her.
Spectre 3, quit looking at Roboport and stay on task. Are you in position?
Oh shit, yeah. Party poppers in position, ready to start the party.
Kick it, Spectre 3.
Whoa.
What the fuck was that, Spectre 3?
Oh man, it's a party now. Oh fuck, those guys are pissed.
Copy that, Spectre 3 compromised. Moving to objective now. Spectre 3, keep it busy. Contact coming down the hallway.
Don't worry, Spectre 2. If that's got you.
Ah, you got it. Awesome. Awesome vista, baby.
I'm at the console. Downloading data now. Got it.
You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word.
What? No. It can't be.
Well, if it isn't Phantom, did you think it would truly be that easy?
Spectre 2, Spectre 2. Spectre 2, do you copy?
In 5D.
Okay, so three notes. One, you should have used my vocal track.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Next time.
Just saying. Two, you blew a puff of smoke right as there was an explosion. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it was fucking fantastic, and it almost killed me.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was good. But the video and the audio, it was timed. Loved that. But then three, sound cue pacing. Little slower, but you're good. You were right on track. I love this. It's so good.
I have just the one comment, and it's both good and bad. So the only reason we can't get sued for that is because it uses multiple things from multiple sources.
Right, it's an homage.
Therefore, they get to fight over who gets the revenue.
No, bullshit. That's 100% homage. Claps. I credit you. Golf clap.
Thank you. And I also did that on purpose. I call that the Jim Sterling tactic. No, everyone calls it the Jim Sterling tactic. Jim Sterling calls it the Jim Sterling tactic. Yeah,
Of course.
it totally makes sense. You know what? I didn't hate that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
As openings go, I think that's probably the most, probably the smoothest one we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so welcome to another episode of whatever the hell it is we do here, apparently.
And the reason the pacing is kind of faster is because I try to cram it as short as possible and not take up all our time with
That's fair.
me building things.
That's fair.
It's like I could probably do a whole podcast on it.
It felt like did you ever see the old like 3DO games back when like live action video
Yes,
games
I
were
know
like
what you're
the
talking about.
hotness? It really did feel like listening, without the visual part, listening to one of those
Dude,
shitty old games.
That's good.
you remember
That's
the old
kind of
Aerosmith game?
Yeah, that's exactly what you were aiming for. It
That's
nailed
kind of what I aim for when I build these because I think of everything visually. So actually, I write them all visually as well.
Yeah.
So I try to bring that to an audio level of just like, well, how do I get this into an audio level? And so like, fuck it, I just go with the most cheese that I could ever have, and I enjoy it. It's all supposed to be just enjoyed B-movie shit.
It's straight out of like Mark Hamill in Wing Commander.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far. It was Last Starfighter, homie.
Well, at least Wing Commander was actually a game.
I think there was a Last Starfighter game.
There is an Atari Last Starfighter game, and there might be an NES Last Starfighter game. Neither of them are very good.
So, anyways, I was going to introduce Rabbit, but I don't know if he has settled in. Wave at us if you can hear us. All right. Cool. So, let's start this off with some retro stuff, because I think that's where our heart is right now. How retro do we want to go? We want to go quasi-retro or like all the way back? You guys tell me.
I don't know.
Or like it's 16.99, baby.
right.
s-
Klops wants it all the
16.99.
way, which
All
is
right,
I mean,
fucking
fair
let's-
considering the source.
We're getting Victorian up in this bitch. All right, Bonsai, tell us about your retro adventures this week.
So I had a couple of friends from California in town, just kind of hanging out, and there's actually a store that I pass by almost weekly. We've walked by the store a bunch. It's like this kitschy little like antique slash soda jerk. Like they do old school sodas and milkshakes, and we've just never gone in there. We've always talked about going and like grabbing a milkshake, but we never fucking do. Just walk by this place while we're doing other errands. And finally, my buddy comes in. He's like, dude, they got a Star Wars figure in the window that I really want to look at. So we go then, and lo and behold, they have shelves and shelves of retro games that I did not know were in this place. Like a 5-minute drive from my house. I'm being kind of vague on purpose because I don't want anybody who happens to be local and hears this to know my new spot for finding fairly cheap retro
You're
games.
such a bitch.
Not redunk. It's not redunk, but it's a decent enough deal that I'm keeping this one to myself. And I made some pickups, and then me and my buddy set up drinking and playing retro games while he was here. So first, not really much of a game, but picked it up really cheap, really happy. I got a Game Genie for Sega Genesis. I was so happy. I never had the Genesis Game Genie. Not a game in itself, but I'm happy to have it.
Does it come with the codes?
No, but you can get them online these days. I didn't get the book. I could probably find the Game Genie book somewhere. In the meantime, I can
Yeah,
get it
I was
online.
about to say, because
but-
for completeness, you need that book.
Right, yeah. I'll probably get it eventually, but I'm also not an inbox collector. With Genesis, it's actually really easy to find Genesis boxes. Like, a lot of stuff is still in box. But I'm by no means aiming for inbox. I find what I find. And for now, I'm cool with that, but who knows how to change. Anyways, this is a game I didn't know was out on Sega Genesis. I had it for NES back in the day, but it came out for Genesis. The Simpsons, Bart vs. the Space Mutants. Have any of you guys ever played this?
Oh, yeah.
I played
This
it on
is It's a hard game.
Dude,
Like,
most of
it's-
those were.
It's super trial and error. So the whole point, there are aliens in Springfield, and you have to dye purple shit a different color. Well, no, I think that's just the first level, and then it's like different every level, right? The first level's hard.
Well,
I couldn't beat it as a kid, and we only played it for like 10 minutes. My buddy got really frustrated, and then he gave up. And I was like, all right, we'll just play something else. But I will probably. It's only like 6 levels, the whole game.
but that
Like
was an
6
arcade game as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
I
I
did not know
played
that.
it. It was a fucking quarter eater because of how fucking hard it was.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. It's brutal. That first level is hard enough alone. So then I got Menacer. It's a 6-in-1 cartridge, and I say I'm a Genesis collector, but I'm not like so hard that I have every game memorized. I'm kind of like natural. I just grew up with a Genesis. I loved the Genesis the most, so now I'm just trying to naturally find every Genesis game until I eventually have to go get a list and then like buy the really hard to find shit. I'm very naturalist about it. So I didn't know what Menacer was. I got it. I put it in. It seems to work. The music keeps playing, but we can't figure out how to select any of the games.
That's part of the game.
Maybe,
That is-
maybe I buy all of these as legit things because we had no idea. No idea. But there's Menacer. Maybe I can look it up online and see if you have to like do a dance or something
It
to
sounds
make it
like
work.
You
'Cause
and your
I-
buddy had a very unfulfilled experience.
We're getting there. Hold on, we're getting there. So now, what I knew was a terrible game. It's a beat-up, rough condition copy, but I got it pretty cheap. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters,
Oh yeah, okay, I had that one.
Street Fighter, but with the Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Terrible, terrible game. But we had a blast with it. Just like struggling with every character, figuring out how to do like one move for each guy, and then just being really disappointed in life.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's so this is what we spent the most time on. Super Nintendo, Rocco's Modern Life, the game.
Oh god.
So I can almost guarantee that this game is not at all going to be what you think it is. We pop this bad boy in. The entire game, as far as we can tell, like we beat the whole thing, but as far as we can tell, the entire game is you trying to get Spunky to the end of some sort of ridiculous obstacle course before he dies. You as Rocco have infinite life, but you have to fight things or launch him up things or figure out how to move Spunky around to get him to the end of a course.
Yeah, I remember playing that one. I didn't own it because I didn't have an SNES, but I played it like one time as a kid at like my cousin's house.
Did you enjoy it?
I don't remember if I did or not. It's been so long. Like, I don't know. I vaguely remember playing that game though.
So, if I'm being honest, I don't know what else you would do with this game, especially in this era. Like, I don't have a better idea for a game, but it's just sort of what neither of us wanted. We played like 3 levels of this, which took, it sounds like you played through it. It took a very long time to get through these 3 levels between the two of us.
Point and click
Plus we were drunk.
adventure, Rocco's Modern Life.
It is not a point and click adventure.
No, that's how I would do it.
Okay, that's fair. I'd do that. This is not that. This is a weird, puzzly obstacle course that wasn't not fun, but was just frustrating enough to be infuriating.
Yeah, I think that was my experience too, because I don't think I made it past the first level. I think I just gave up and just went to a different game and played like Donkey Kong Country or something.
What I did appreciate though is at least the first level was based on an actual episode of Rocco's Modern Life. It was the beach episode, and it even had like the mean fish and the pelican and the seagulls. Like they kind of just took elements from that episode and made a level. And I was like, okay, this is actually like a weird kind of attention to detail that you probably wouldn't get in a modern game. Like in a modern game, it would be a standalone story. You know what I mean? Like when they do The Simpsons, it's a standalone story. When they do it, it's always its own thing. This was like, here's a weird interpretation of a level that involves a lot of scaffolding that wasn't there. There's a lot of scaffolding in this game.
Okay. Do you have a Game Gear? Because I feel
I do have a Game Gear.
I think that the Ren and Stimpy game might be up your alley then.
Okay, is this the Ren and Stimpy Firefighters game?
No, it's the other one for Game Gear.
There's several Ren and Stimpy games, so saying the one for Game Gear.
I only know of the one.
Reference this.
I might actually have it in my Game Gear box because I have a Game Gear, but the screen doesn't work.
So the screen is shitty on my Game Gear. I want to get a modded one with an LCD screen.
Yeah,
they do. Portland RetroCon is here. I'm in Well, I'm not in Portland, but I'm near enough to Portland that I'm considered in Portland. They have like modded Ataris that'll take HDMI.
Oh wow!
Game Gears with better screens. I really want to try and find a modded Sega Nomad. That's been like my favorite. Sega Nomad is a handheld Sega system that'll take full-size Sega cartridges.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I love that thing. The screen on it is so shitty because it's from like 1996 or something. It's got just the worst little screen, but if you can find a modded one with an LCD in there, it's pretty sweet.
I'm gonna look it up, but there's one Ren and Stimpy game that was really fun. It was like it's Ren and Stimpy Quest for the Seven Yak Saga.
Okay, and what do you do in this game?
It's like a platformer puzzle game, and you can pick either Ren or you can pick Stimpy. Depending on which one you do different things a little bit. Mostly just what your projectile attack is what it is. With Stimpy, it's a fur ball. With Ren, it's throwing a shoe.
Right.
And so like your whole goal is to just get to the end of levels and collect these like pieces for this like Shaven Yak Saga book or whatever it is. And it can get pretty hard. It has a lot of hard things in it. Mostly like the bosses and stuff are really ridiculous. Like you fight a cobra like they do in one of the episodes, and it takes a shit ton of damage before it actually dies or whatever. And there's no save system. It's all just codes. So you'd have to, like, after you get a certain level, it gives you a code where you progress, so you can just, put that in and continue going if you want, or if you lose. But it was a lot of fun. It's actually one of the games I spent the most time on in, like, my childhood with the Game Gear.
All right, I might have to look for it.
but it has a lot of the set pieces. Like they built levels out of like pieces from the episodes and shit.
See, that's always nice. You don't get that in most modern games. So another one I picked up, it's a pretty obvious grab, but weirdly I didn't have it in my collection and it was a decent price. Super Mario 64. I did not own this.
I never did either.
Yeah. I even had the 64 growing up. I just never had this.
Yeah, that's the same with me.
Yeah, so finally picked that up. I will probably play through that whole thing. I played it on the DS, but the DS is slightly different because you had like all the different characters and shit, and I'm told this doesn't. But that'll be fun. And then what I'm really excited about, I got a great price on this. I love this series. I get why probably some people don't. I got Dark Cloud 2!
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Dark Cloud's great. I fucking love Dark Cloud. It's just very straight and to the point. There's a dungeon. Yo, weapons break. Fucking save people. Oh shit! All right. Dark Cloud's great. Love it.
All right. So, quick question, because every time the retro conversation comes up, did any of you guys play for the original NES the Ghostbusters game?
Yeah. Well, I never owned it, but yes, I've seen it played a lot. I had friends who played it. I played it at friends' house.
Okay.
No.
So, mind you, I bought it for $7 at a yard sale. Well, not a yard sale, at the flea market when I was a kid. I couldn't get past the first level.
Yeah, no, it's very, very difficult.
Like,
Angry Video Game Nerd does a whole great review on just how shitty that game is.
I love that movie. I saved up money for this. No, yeah, just remember, when you pick raspberries, that little can is like 25 cents and shit. I'm just saying. I saved up money for this, and I couldn't get past the first level. It is one of the biggest failures of my life, and I've never gone back.
To be fair, even if you do go back, you're going to have a real rough time with that game. Seriously, that game is fucking hard.
I couldn't even figure out the dynamic. I was just like, what? This ghost keeps chasing. ¿Qué?
Mom!
No, please. Yeah, I'm gonna tell my mother that I spent money on this thing that I can't even play.
Yeah, no, that one's really difficult. You know what I grew up with was Dark Tower? No, Deadly Tower. Deadly Tower on the NES. The game is insane. So it's actually like, think of like a Zelda, but with a way more confusing map, more enemies with more erratic moves, and zero explanation as to what you're supposed to do at all.
That was most NES games, though.
No, I mean none. I mean the game, like in-game, doesn't even be like, you have to find the Crystal of nothing. You are dropped in a tower and there's shit. Fucking hope you don't die. I don't even believe there are re-enter passwords. There might be.
That was like Ghosts and Goblins or some shit.
Ghosts and Goblins. Hold on. You know what you're doing in Ghosts and Goblins because it's a side scroller. Fucking move right.
No.
Side scroller game.
Okay, so Ghosts and Goblins, are you thinking the one where you throw your spear and you get hit a few times, you start getting more naked?
Yeah. That is Ghosts and Goblins.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Ghosts and Goblins.
The one I'm talking about is similar to that, except for the whole naked bit, but you end up in like a tree level. Like, I think it's like the second area, you're in trees and you go into different trees. It might be ghouls and ghosts, because remember, they made a lot of games that are very similarly named.
There's Ghosts and Goblins, there's Super Ghosts and Goblins, there's Ghouls and Ghosts, which I believe is the Genesis version.
Yeah.
Either way, I just remember, like, it started you off with a really false sense of security, like, oh, I got this, and then got you completely lost. Just heinous maps, everything looks the fucking same. It's terrible.
I don't know.
Nothing.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah, now you're the piece of shit who's got to go research something. Rabid, favorite like retro game?
In terms of NES, it's the original Legends of Zelda or Excite Bike.
I like how drastically different those two picks are.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I like this really well-crafted, beautiful, well-remembered game. Also, Excite Bike, which I'm not shitting on Excite Bike in quality. Excite Bike is a great game. I just don't see how those are in the same category at all.
Now, in terms of full stand-up arcade, Space Invaders is my all-time favorite.
Okay, that's fair. I'm more of a Raiden guy. We're going stand-up arcade. Like, if I could only pick one arcade machine gun to my head, I'm putting a Raiden machine downstairs.
Mine is Metal Slug.
Metal Slug's great.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Eduardo, arcade?
Arcade, I mean, honestly, if we're talking about arcade, Area 51.
Yeah, Area 51.
That was a good one too.
We used to have that one.
I had it on PlayStation, but it's a little
Yeah,
different.
no, I'm actually thinking of looking for the light gun version because they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Just get the cab. Just get the
I
cab.
had House of the Dead 3 with the light gun. That was fun for the
Ooh,
Xbox.
House of the Dead would be great. That's a good one. You know what I'm actually like weirdly a huge fan of though? I actually suggest this to people at work. I hate it when people hunt and peck. You know, they type two finger and they poke like this. It drives me up a goddamn wall. Why do you work in an office building if you can't even type? Like, take a summer course, you fuck. It's like 6 weeks and you can walk out of there typing. What is wrong with you? Either Typer Shark or Typing of the Dead. Typing of the Dead is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It's literally just House of the Dead. Is it 2? I think it's 2
Yeah,
specifically.
close.
It might be number 1.
think
It's one of them. But you type the word on the zombie, and it kills the zombie, and you go through the game. It's such a good typing practice tool.
Yeah, we had similar things like that for just like learning to type.
Well, yeah, I mean, did you know fucking Rabbit? How you don't have to be like specific. How old are
20.
you?
I'm around 18 and 20. I'm 19.
Okay, so you're like a baby.
He has a baby.
Did you have to take typing courses in school? Like at
So
all?
now, I have an issue with this right here. So I knew how to type before those classes. I learned on my own. I could do everything, and then in I think it was 8th grade or 7th grade, where I had to take the typing class, and I had to learn the proper way, like putting your index fingers on F and J and stuff like that. And I couldn't type like that. I can type on my own real fast how I do it. It's just
You're like my wife. She's like, I just kind of made up my own homeroom and it works. But
yeah.
I guess you're faking it, but no, man, you should just. And I don't get why they waited until 8th grade. I had like a typing class in elementary school.
See, I never learned to do the proper typing either. I do one hand and I look at the keyboard and I just go like this.
Oh, that's a sort of mutant thing. To be fair
Yeah.
though, I learned with my index finger on the D. That's because, you know, WASD is all I ever fucking learned. So that's where my hand goes naturally, and I just fucking type from there. There's no appropriate way to type for me.
Well, the really fucked up thing is the QWERTY keyboard is actually made to slow you down in typing. It's because in old school, when there were typewriters, the little prongs could only fly up so fast. And they found that there was I can't remember. I think it's the Dvorak. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But there is a keyboard layout that your brain just takes to very easily. And they found that the little arms were hitting, and so it wasn't typing right. So they made a keyboard layout that was inefficient to slow you down when typing. And we've just never corrected that.
That's bullshit.
So there actually is a keyboard that is better for typing that would be better for computers, but it's just not what caught on.
I mean, well, there's that, and then other countries have slightly different variations as well. I know because we have to source them sometimes for work.
Oh, yeah, no. You know what I've had to do at work is French keyboards. And French keyboards are jacked up because, you know, when we hit the number key at the top, you hit 1, it's 1. You hit shift 1, it's exclamation point. Theirs is reverse. It's naturally exclamation point, and you hit shift to get the number.
So it's because they're a lot more excited than mathematical, sounds like.
No, it's rough. And then what's even worse is on the Macs, if you order an American laptop with a French keyboard, the operating system is still set to read it as English. So your password will be entered following the American layout. But once you log in, it'll be the French layout. You actually have to throw terminal commands in to get the BIOS to recognize French to have your French keyboard used on your login screen. It's mind-numbing. Mind-numbing.
Yeah, that reminds me of the time where someone, as a joke, put my cell phone back when it was the green with the ink-looking e-ink.
Yeah.
They put it into Chinese.
Take that,
So
you
I
piece
had
of
to
shit.
remember by memory where to go on the menu because I had no idea what any of these characters were. It's alright, I punched them in the junk, but
I've done that. Actually, I've had people that they come in with like, I don't know how my daughter switched the language, but I don't know where to go, and I've had to like navigate through Windows 10.
well, it's a lot
Like-
easier now where you can just go on the internet and there will be a guide for that. But this was,
I
in
just went from
high
memory of
school.
like where I know, because I changed the language a lot for different people. There's a lot of people that speak Spanish and stuff that wanted in Spanish. So when I get done working on a machine, I switch it to Spanish for them so they can have that. So I just know where to fucking go for languages at this point. But it was really fun figuring that out, and like I think it was Laotian. It was like
Well, those are even weird, right? Because I wonder how the dialects get affected. All right.
So, I'll do one last thing because I don't think did I talk about the PlayStation Classic on here?
We talked about it in the sense that we weren't really interested.
So I
when it was
have one.
announced.
I bought it because I found it for $40.
Boo your
Best
crew.
Buy had a sell on those too. Yeah.
$40. Honestly, I will say the thing's worth $40, except it does not come with a power source.
It also doesn't have the analog stick controller.
Hold on, we're not. Hold on. It doesn't come with a power source. It comes with a micro USB to USB cable, and they're like, grab a hub and just plug it into a hub.
Mhm.
But they didn't give you a hub.
Yeah,
You
no,
supply
I know.
the hub.
Dude, a lot of things are that way now. I just got some new headphones, the new Razer ones, the big bulky ones with the haptic feedback. They don't come with a power adapter to charge them. They're just
Benari,
yeah, I believe.
the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I was looking to get.
They're great, except for the fact that they don't send you a fucking power brick with them. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're supposed to be using them for like mobile gaming, you're just gonna fucking have your computer powered on randomly? No. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's hot horse shit. So, yes, it doesn't have the analog sticks, but the original PlayStation, when it released, did not have the analog sticks. And
I know.
all the games that are on it, except for maybe Tekken 3, all of the other ones that, as far as I know, I had most of those games, and no, there was no analog stick when I played those games.
That's fair, but it makes life easier when you have the analog sticks. That's why they did it.
We're not here to make life easy.
And I would want to play Metal Gear,
Capture a
the original Metal Gear, on PlayStation with the analog sticks, like I did when I was a kid, because I happened to have a PS2 and I happened to buy Metal Gear 1 and was like, this looks like a fun PS1 game. And that's how I played that one, was on my PS2.
But that's a you problem. That's not a rest of the world problem.
There's also shooter games on there that would work with analog sticks.
What shooter game? No. No.
Yeah. No, like Siphon Filter?
And Darkfield, and wasn't Dark Forces also on there?
It's not a shooter, it's a third person thing.
Dark Forces?
Siphon Filter
No.
was both.
Siphon Filter.
It was both. You aimed with like a rifle and shit into first person.
Never played Siphon Filter. Fuck that game. I don't do stuff.
What I thought was really cool,
It
though,
wasn't-
is that
whatever.
on the back of the actual PlayStation Classic box, it has the screenshot for Metal Gear with the codec number on there, just like they did on the original box, because there's a point in that game where they're like, look on the back of the cartridge for her codec. And you're like,
Oh, that's kind of cool.
there's the codec. And it worked.
I will say this for the thing. I don't give a shit about your analog sticks. Fuck you. Cry about it. Be older. Fuck you. I would have spent $40 just to have that boot up screen come out of a PlayStation shaped thing when I push the power button. Like, honestly, that was worth it enough. That old classic PlayStation loading screen just carries a lot of nostalgia for me. But the real surprising thing about it, the game lineup is shit. All of it. Just about everything on there is hot horse shit. It's not good. But Street Fighter Puzzle or whatever the fuck it's called is probably the best thing I've played in like 10 years. Oh my god, that shit's addicting. We drank so much and played Street Fighter, Puzzle Quest, Fuckaboogaloo 2. I don't know what the hell that game is called. But essentially, it's like columns / Tetris,
Yeah.
but with Street Fighter. And it's brilliant. I still don't think I quite understand what I'm doing 100%, but we must have played that for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
So the puzzle fighter genre has blown the fuck up.
It's amazing.
There's the Street Fighter one. There was one for Sega Genesis called
For Genesis?
Sorry, no, not Genesis. Dreamcast. Dreamcast.
Yeah.
There was one for Dreamcast that had robots and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was robots fighting, but same kind of deal. Like, it was Puzzle Fighter. And I even played one for my mobile phone that was Castlevania. So you still go through the castle and you get to choose where you go. But instead of having normal encounters, it's puzzle battles. So think of, I think it was Symphony of the Night. I think it was the one. It's the one that has Alucard in it. And you play through that. But instead of like hitting things with a whip or whatever, it literally goes into a puzzle mode, and they get harder the deeper in the castle you go.
I want to see this movie interpretation, like Castlevania Puzzle Fighter, and the whole movie is like, it's the villain. I gotta solve this puzzle.
I got it. I got
just solve a puzzle.
I have the premise.
And the guy who wins, and the guy who loses fucking dies.
I have the answer for that movie. Here's how it works. What he needs to do is he needs to go into the quantum realm. and that's how he does it. He moves the molecules, and that's how he defeats the enemies.
I feel like I really just want him to be like, it's Dracula. Solve this puzzle. And then he goes up and it's just a bunch of colored blocks. And he's got to fucking arrange them. And then once he does, Dracula's like, oh no! And then Dracula dies. And the whole thing, it's just Keanu Reeves in both roles.
That was kind of my thought. Like, I wanted to be like, he like goes into the room and then it's just like this giant just puzzle, like, right? He just has to like move these blocks. Like, just pushing them, just these huge blocks, right? Dracula's like, you'll never defeat me, right? Just yelling at him the whole time. And then he solves the fucking puzzle, and then like,
no! On board with what I'm thinking.
And then just like sunlight comes in and he like blows up, right? You know?
Yes, he has to explode. And tell me, in your head, the whole thing doesn't make sense when it's Keanu Reeves as both the guy and the vampire.
I mean, that would be great.
Both of them.
It doesn't matter who it is to me. I just want to see this premise. Like, that's how he solves like everything. Like, he's in the middle of the woods just running, and then there's just like another different kind of puzzle, right? You know, and it's always like these giant, ridiculous puzzles, like scaled up versions of like the things that you see, right? You know, it could be a goddamn chess piece, right? You know, I mean, just a chessboard. He has to get through the chessboard, right? You know, a certain way.
So it's funny that you bring this up, because at this point, I believe Keanu would actually do that movie.
I would actually watch that movie.
I just saw a movie that he does a cameo in, an extended cameo as Keanu Reeves. It's this movie on Netflix called Always Be My Maybe. It's done by I'm forgetting it. The main male lead in Fresh Off the Boat. He wrote it.
Oh, yeah.
With another female comedian. She just had a Netflix special. But anyways, I saw it while I was high. Either way, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was well done, because they kind of took the rom-com thing and slightly turned it on its ear, which was great. And it was in San Francisco, so they like definitely showcased all the hipsters, but not to the point where it was obnoxious. Like, basically saying, yeah, we know they're here. It's part of society. We get it. But anyways, one of the characters ends up dating Keanu, and they go on a double date, and it is a huge parody of himself, and basically like that, like he's super over the top and artistic, and he like feels things. And I feel like if Keanu's willing to make fun of himself that much, he could do a movie where he's both the good guy and the bad guy, the vampire hunter and the main vampire.
Yeah.
Or you know who else would do it? Corey Feldman. He was already halfway there.
Yeah, I'd watch Feldman do it too, but honestly, that one's gonna get weird.
Well,
That
if we saw
movie's
his
gonna
last,
get real awkward for everybody. Real.
if we saw his last vampire movie, yeah, he was
No,
wait,
they're doing Edward. Actually, weird update. We didn't plan for this, but just really quick. So my wife finally watched the Charmed show that
the
Eduardo
new one?
reviewed and hated. But I will say, Eduardo kind of has a hate on it. This is just not his kind of show. The channel that makes that show, it's just not his jam. I'm not saying he doesn't like any of
That's
them,
fine.
but he's kind of in the same boat as me. It's just it's sort of not our thing. Just so you can be up to date, Rabbit, CW stuff. The CW stuff, it just doesn't resonate. We are not the target audience for this. It's just not made for us.
Right.
So even my wife has tried this new Charmed show, another CWE kind of one. Still hates it. Said it's way over the top. It's total crap. She just started rewatching the regular Charmed.
Look, I watched the regular Charmed, and whatever. Call me girly if you want. You're gonna do it anyways. I don't care.
You are like lady.
But
Keep these tampons in your cart.
These updates to these shows, they're just, Jesus Christ, they're like, look how topical we are. Look how topical we are. It just, whatever. Again, that movie I'm just talking about, you should check it out because they do that, but not like, I think that's how you do that kind of stuff right. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So there was, you mentioned the other vampire movie with good old Corey Feldman. They are doing a Lost Boys show.
Are they?
I'm pretty sure it's a show. Maybe it's a movie reboot, but I'm pretty sure it's a Lost Boys show, and they've already changed the Frog Brothers to the Frog Sisters, which I guess is negligible, but it just, these days, that sort of speaks to a tone of show. And now I'm kind of getting this picture in my head that it's probably just not going to be the kind of show that I'm going to enjoy.
Who's producing it?
Is
I
Corey
don't know.
Feldman going to be in it?
If Corey Feldman's in, I'm back in 100% no fucks.
I mean, I'll definitely...
That'd be kind of cool to it's like, I don't know. If
Rabbit,
it's
are you old enough to know what The Lost Boys is? Have you seen The Lost Boys?
I've heard of it.
Oh my god.
Okay, you should cut me some slack.
No, dude, don't feel bad. I've never seen it. I've only ever heard of it either.
So like
Yeah,
all of
but
the
you came from another country.
That's true. I did.
Well, Rabbit's young.
all these the CW shows and all that, I'm not even about all that crap.
So for the record, The Lost Boys is a
disgusting.
year older than I am. And I've still seen it.
How old are you?
Yeah, it's older
I'm
than me.
30.
I'm 29. I've still seen it.
Yeah, I'm older than y'all, and I never seen it. But yeah, to be fair, I didn't start watching any mainstream TV until I was like 11. So there's that.
So for
But
the record, the Lost Boys is kind of like late 80s goth fantasy vampires.
Yeah.
But not Interview with a Vampire goth vampires.
I thought
It's
it.
like,
It's
I thought
a
it was
modern
good.
day take on vampirism.
I thought it was
Still really
Goonies,
gothy.
but for goth kids.
Of course, it's still very gothy. It's vampires.
So I
there's
mean,
non-gothy vampire movies.
so I'm not even into any of the vampire shows. The only thing I ever watched that was vampire and that I liked was Vampires Suck.
I never saw it.
I never saw
Oh.
that one either. But there
I'm not a huge I'm just there's good vampire stuff. There's bad vampire. Like 40 Days a Night is kind of dope.
yeah, that one was kind of cool.
Looks
But
better.
there was like the
The
frenzy
Strain.
vampires.
The Strain is really cool.
I haven't watched that. I've watched part of that one. I haven't watched all of it yet.
I like the comic. The comic.
I don't mind like some vampire stuff. Like I'm not completely into it. Like I like Blade. I liked Interview with the
You've
Vampire is
seen
okay.
Blade, right? You've at least seen Blade.
Well, Daybreakers is really good.
Daybreakers was fun. I just thought it was fun. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was fun. It was like cheesy and shit, and that's why I liked it. Underworld was okay. Like for the first one,
The
I
first
thought it
one
was
was-
okay
It's good.
until like it got to that weird plot twist of like he's both, and I was like, that's just die, you know. I also liked Lost Boys. I thought that was a lot of fun when I was a kid. I loved that movie.
See, I didn't. My brother really liked Lost Boys. I was mad on Lost Boys.
See, I really liked it, and I wouldn't mind it being the Frog Sisters if it was like his daughters or something, and he was like doing a cameo.
I think it's full reboot.
Is it? See, that's kind of weird. And I guess I don't mind that too much. I want one of them to talk like actual frog, though.
I do. I feel like that's funny. I do feel like the whole movie was made just for that last line in the movie. That's my only problem with Santa Cruz. Too many goddamn vampires. Like the whole movie, you think the grandpa doesn't know, and at the end, movie, he's like, "Yeah, this is like fucking Tuesday." We're always like, killing vampires.
See,
they
I
made
thought
that whole
was
movie just for that line.
I thought that was really cool. That was really fun because he just shows up out of nowhere,
and
like,
I'm sure he's half drunk.
Was that John Bon Jovi playing that?
John Bon Jovi wasn't old enough to play a grandpa in those days.
They have prosthetics.
I don't think it was John Bon Jovi, Eduardo. I don't know that for a fact, but I'll roll the dice and place my bet there.
I don't know. He did that other vampire movie, so I figured if he was going to deliver...
What vampire movie was Bon Jovi in?
Who
calls him John Bon Jovi?
Because of this movie, I call him John Bon Jovi, motherfucker. It was one of the Carpenter. It was something Los Muertos. I swear to God, I'm bringing this up because it was fucking terrible.
See, I
feel like this is a movie that was released only in Mexico.
My favorite vampire movie of all time, though, is From Dusk Till Dawn. I know you hate like Tarantino, you don't like Robert Rodriguez, so.
Fucking Dusk Till Dawn is such a piece of shit. The movie isn't even consistent with itself. There's literally a point where they cut off somebody's head, but instead of dying like any of the other vampires would and did, he turns into a giant rat because that was a fun scene. Also, get fucked. That movie is fucking terrible.
I thought it was a really fun action movie, and my actual pleasure of it is actually showing it to other people because I don't tell them anything about it. I just turn on the movie. Right?
The only good thing is Cheech Marin playing two completely different characters for no reason.
And so, like, they're watching this movie. I did this to my girlfriend I live with. It was great. We're watching this movie, right? She thinks it's some kind of, like, bank heist fucking movie, and then, wham! Vampires! And she's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? What?
No.
She hates vampire movies, by the way.
All right.
One of the most
because it completely came out of left field for her and just hit her with it. It was like, what?
Tarantino always puts his fucking foot scenes in his movie because he can't get away without his goddamn foot fetish. And this is the worst one because he makes poor Selma Hayek put her foot in his mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. I understand that, but you know what? It's better than the dudes at Nickelodeon doing that.
I'll watch that show.
all right. So hold on. Only because it's gotten even better. John Carpenter had made a movie called Vampires in 1998 that stars James motherfucking Woods. Though
I've actually seen that.
Yeah, the John Bon Jovi one is a direct-to-video sequel called Vampires Los Muertos.
It's just Vampires the Dead?
Yeah, pretty much. But I swear to God, like, it's called Vampires Los Muertos, not like Vampiros Los Muertos. No, just straight up like, yeah. I don't fucking know.
And even in Spanish, that's still like Vampires the Dead.
Yeah, so, great. I think that we need to watch these all together, like, 1 week, and then review them, because... This is perfect. Apparently, in 2005, they did a third one that I've never seen, and I'm excited in a really weird way.
Jovi, or is it like Sting now?
No, I think it's Ziggy Stardust. No.
Oh my God.
I would have watched David Bowie in a vampire movie.
It's starring
Codpiece and everything.
Colin Egglesfield.
That's not a real name.
I don't know who that is.
That is not that guy's real name. He made that the fuck up when he became an actor.
To
Say
be fair,
it again?
So Colin Egglesfield.
No.
Was this John Carpenter's vampire one? Was that the one they were looking for, like the Black Cross or whatever?
I don't know, motherfucker. It came out in like '93 or some shit. I haven't seen it in a while.
I think I've seen that one. I think they're looking for a Black Cross or something.
I think I just remember James Woods in a vampire movie.
I just remember it wasn't great. Not the James Woods. I remember liking that. The John Bon Jovi one was too much cheese. even for me.
Raven, do you know who Bon Jovi is?
I fucking have his music on my phone. Yes, I know who Bon Jovi is.
I don't know what you kids know. I'm old enough to now call you kids.
No, you're
and
not.
I don't even feel
No, you're
bad.
not. You
I
are
don't
neither.
care.
You are neither 50 nor Republican.
My music taste goes before you were even born.
Sure.
How much
Okay.
for the doggy in the window?
I mean, Ring Around the Rosie's from before I was born, so most 4-year-olds could say the same thing. I'm just saying. That's fair. I'm just checking. I don't know where the lines are. I gotta figure out where the lines are. The
There,
line is
you
right now. The
crossed
line
it.
is Bon Jovi, which is not like a really far line.
Actually, when did Bon Jovi first start doing their thing?
I don't know. I don't like Bon Jovi.
I don't really either.
He has stupid hair.
Yeah. All right. His music's fine, but his hair is retarded. He's got interesting. A couple of songs I like.
Nobody cares.
Oh, and the chat says Bernard Hughes is the grandpa in Lost Boys.
right.
I don't know who that is. I looked him up, but does
He's the
not
coolest
ring a bell.
grandpa in the Lost Boys. That's who he is.
Yeah, apparently he was also in Tron, and I just can't place his face.
Man, I really wanted to like Tron more than I liked Tron.
The new Tron or the original Tron?
Yes.
I like the new one.
I didn't watch the new one.
The new, neither of them is bad. They both just have a lot of problems.
I think they both have their good parts and bad parts.
Right.
I think they're both equally good in their own way.
I just
That's very Sweden of you. You're so millennial. Good lord.
the original
Shut
is
the
a
fuck
little
up.
too 80s for me. Like that's all it is.
The only problem with the original Tron is it takes way too long to get to the digital world. There's a whole lot of that shit's expensive, so we're padding this movie. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of really unnecessary buildup where you're like, yeah, you showed other shit in the trailer, motherfucker. Shut up.
That actually reminds me of the first Godzilla movie. Of the
Godzilla?
new ones?
The one
No,
like
of the new
1999
ones.
or whatever.
No, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
That's not the first. The first is the Matthew Broderick famed murderer.
No, the first is motherfucking the one from Japan, Gojira.
Well, that's what I first said. God, like fucking guy in a suit. Wah! Fucking Godzilla.
No, the reboot, I guess. The first of the reboot, or
Yeah, that movie sucked.
yeah, it was the same deal. Like, are we ever gonna see the giant fuck off lizard, or are we just gonna see like tremors and shit?
It was his toe.
Just shit moving in the water. Yeah, right. Shit moving in the water. But yeah, I did see the new one though. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, if you like giant kaiju fighting, you're gonna like this movie.
Oh, sweet. That's literally all I wanted them to do in the first movie, and then they just didn't do that.
Yeah, no, they did that in this one quite a bit.
Sweet. Is it better than Pac Rim 2? I'm not setting a high bar.
Dude, Pac Rim 2 was the fucking worst.
Yeah, we bought it without seeing it first.
No.
I mean, it was like $14 on Blu-ray. But
I rented it for $2.99 on the Microsoft store. By the way, Microsoft, give us some money. And and it was terrible. I almost wanted a refund. Just like, dude,
wow.
it was bad. Well, because
Yeah, it's not good.
it was what I would think Beyblade would be as a live action.
Actually, I'm not a fan of the series. I don't give two shits that it exists. I would watch the fuck out of the Yu-Gi-Oh movie if they used the weird Yu-Gi-Oh reboot. I was homesick from work at one point. I'm kind of like out of my mind on NyQuil, but I was watching this Yu-Gi-Oh reboot where apparently they don't just play cards. They're still just playing a fucking card game, but they do it while riding on motorcycles and avoiding like traps and hazards on a motorcycle track. And I think as an adult, I can drink enough to make a movie about that real fucking entertaining.
What? It was like when they've run out of ideas for a game series and they do the racing, like Sonic Racing.
Right. No, it made like, and like the whole time, the dude's like riding on his motorcycle and he's like, I play this car. And the dude's like, what? And then like, there's literally just a trap on the racetrack. And you're like, is that like part of the card? Or part of the track? And then both of them have to go through it, and then like one guy almost wipes out, and I was like, so if he wipes out, does he lose the card game? Or does he just
Die.
Are there laps? I don't know. They explained none of it, which is weird considering it's anime and they take 15 minutes to explain every action.
I feel like
They
what you were
explained
looking
none of
for
this.
was Rocket League the movie.
I will also watch Rock. You know, when Real Steel first came out, the Hugh Jackman
Oh,
and the
yeah.
toy boxing robots, I was really prepared. This is one of the biggest ones I take my word back on. I laughed at that movie because I was like, it's fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie. This is stupid. This is bullshit. A friend of mine dragged me to the movie. I watched that movie. That movie's really good.
Dude, I own
And
it.
it really is just Rock'em Sock'em
Yeah.
Robots, the movie.
It would.
Really? I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to check that.
No, I'm always like. So here's the thing. Now, when they announce a really stupid movie, I scoff. But
Rabbit
then
is looking up what Real Steel is right now.
But
He
then-
has never seen this movie. He's looking it up.
you know, all I'm saying is if they made Candyland the movie and it was like Jumanji, I'd be in. Some
I would
psycho
watch-
bitch candy fairies would be hilarious.
Dry throat. You made me cough. Well done. No, I really just want to see the chocolate guy because he was always creepy, and I assumed he was a villain as a kid. Do you have Candyland? Did millennials grow up with a version of Candyland that's like no sugar added Candyland, like sugar free Candyland?
No.
Oh, dude.
What board game did you have as a like? If I'm gonna say your go-to childhood board game, what is that board game?
For childhood board game?
He
Yes.
means last week.
Monopoly's my favorite. I collect Monopolies.
Okay, that's fair.
I do
That's
too.
fair.
I have Doctor
Classic.
Who and a couple other ones now.
What's,
have
what's
Fallout.
your rarest Fallout Monopoly?
No, I probably a PGA. I'm a golfer, so I have a PGA Monopoly.
Oh, nice. Do you ever see there's a Batman Monopoly, but it's like $250?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to find it when someone like has it on eBay for cheaper because I'm trying to snatch it up. But yeah, it's on my list. So, all right. Fun fact, and I don't know if I've brought this up before. Talking about board games, and if they ever make a movie of this, I'm gonna demand the right version. So Shoots and Ladders.
I know of it.
Mexico has its own version of Shoots and Ladders.
What's the name? Please tell me the name.
It's Snakes and Ladders.
Oh, that's at least say it in Spanish.
Culebras, serpientes y escaleras.
Thank
But here's the
you.
fucked up
I
part.
live for these moments.
They sanitize that shit for y'all white folk because in the real version, the motherfucking snake eats you and shits you out at the end. It's not a shoot. You don't just go wee and you end up fucking further back. That
Are
motherfucker
you sure
eats
this
you.
is not just you drawing parallels? Like the game actually says, like, wait for the snake to poop you out. Like,
No, legit. They have them on the
but there's
board.
like a picture of its butthole like expanding as your character passes.
Well, unless
through it.
you're sliding on its back, and that doesn't seem very realistic. Life is shit, and so are you. Get to the back of the line.
Okay, this sounds more like a Mexican board game.
But anyways, it surprised me like for the longest time. Want to play Shoots and Ladders? I'm like, what the fuck's a shoot? Like a parachute? Is that what we're doing? Like, do you just gingerly fall down? What are we doing? No, just fucking weird. Weird ass board games. Also, that'd be a really weird 13 Ghosts-esque board game movie where the fucking the levels just keep shifting or some shit. Hollywood, you need to give me money. I have ideas. All right, we're actually getting there towards the end.
I
man.
want Klops' childhood board game.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I couldn't really hear you over Eduardo. Mine would be Risk.
That's your like 10 years old. You played Risk.
Yeah, I loved it.
Your parents are sadists.
Also, how did you ever finish the
Seriously.
fucking game?
I didn't for a long time.
Yeah, that game takes fucking
Somebody flipped the
hours.
board well before anybody finished.
No,
it.
that's Monopoly.
Yeah.
Risk is the one game where I've actually seen two non-confrontational nerds punch each other. And this was in an office, just like
My first playthrough of Risk was I was like 10 at my cousin's house. I was like, why don't we play this one? And he's like, okay, all right. And I fucking stomped him at it. I somehow just kept beating him with strategic, like, I don't know, I have no idea. I just was beating him. Like, I was fucking moving them in the correct order and like was doing it correctly, and I really liked Risk, and so it became my favorite childhood game. That and like Trouble.
What Klopp doesn't know is that they let him fucking win, and he was sitting
They
like,
probably did.
"Yay."
Probably did.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I'm like the weirdest one because mine's not like a time-honored classic. It's just stupid, and me and my brother loved it. We were all about Crossfire.
I could see that.
Crossfire was Crossfire just had the best commercial. The game was hot garbage.
How do you
but they
win
had
at
the
Crossfire
best-
though, for reals?
You knocked both or all, however many of like the little, I don't know what you call them,
Targets?
objects that were on the board. You knocked them into your opponent's little gutter.
Huh.
At least Hungry Hungry Hippos made sense.
Hungry Hungry Hippos was dope. That's a weird one that there's not a lot more variants of Hungry Hungry Hippos. Cards Against Humanity, that's a classic. That's not a childhood board game, though.
Yeah, that's,
No.
I'm not giving you
That's why I
credit
didn't say
for
it.
that.
I didn't say anything about it. I have my monopolies in here, actually. I don't have the PGA one in here, but I got. Here's the original.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And I got Fallout in here.
Nice.
I've got the Super Mario Brothers one. It's probably one of my favorites, and
Is
Doctor
there an
Who.
X-rated Monopoly? They'd make money on
Oh,
that.
I'm sure there is.
Oh, there's probably 100%. No way. There's gotta be.
Yeah, there's an X-rated almost anything. They just call them parodies nowadays.
I just really want to know what the figures for the X-rated Monopoly are.
I also
What are
have
the pawns?
two other board games that I really enjoyed as a kid, and they're both movie ones. They were both based off of movies. One was Star Wars. It was like the trench run. Like, so you got to play a board game playing as like one of the X-wings doing the trench run on like Star Wars.
Right.
And then there was also the Jumanji board game.
The
when
Jumanji board
came
game.
out.
Who says what's Jumanji?
Jumanji.
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 No, Jumanji would imply letters that are not in that.
I'm gonna fuck it up every time, and I'm gonna do it on purpose now because you're making a thing out of it.
You know what? I like
To be fair, though, this happened the last time we talked about Jumanji.
Fuck is a Jumanji? Everybody knows it.
Okay.
Anyways.
I loved the movie Jumanji. I think Zathura was better.
Wait, hold on.
Zathura
Hold on.
was dope.
Hold on.
Full credit.
Are you talking about Robin Williams or The Rock Jumanji there, youngin?
Robin Williams Jumanji.
Okay.
Okay.
Zathura was dope as fuck.
I never saw the Rock one because it looked like garbage.
It was not bad.
Apparently, it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I never saw it either, but it's
I
getting a
liked it.
sequel.
I didn't hate it.
I thought it was fun.
I saw Zathura, and no, man, Jumanji was still better.
Oh,
like,
Zathura's real
Zathura
good.
was good.
I
Zathura
think-
was definitely
Isn't Zathura
good.
John Favreau or something?
Zathura
had like, if I remember right, it had like a great director.
I need to watch that movie.
Eduardo, play us out while I look up Zathura.
Anyways, we're at the end of the episode today. Thanks, Rabbit, for joining. I had to look at your fucking username because it's super long and it's just Rabbit. Check us
Rabbit.
out on
Call him
YouTube
Rabbit.
Mondays.
It's Rabid.
No, it's
7 to
Rabbit.
8.
John Favreau directed Zathura.
And on that note, that's his final words. Klops?
Jumanji.
It is not Jumanji.
All right, Rabbit, final words.
Jumanji.
Thank you.
Bye.